Look at you. Mm.
Silver Lining episode. Are you ready? Episode. This is my intro, by the way. No, it's not. Episode 11.
11.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's episode 32 of the podcast overall.
Wow.
Doing this for 32 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Dude, I can't wait till we get to that big old 52.
52? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a month after Doctor Strange comes out. Sorry, it's not relevant.
Nerd.
Okay. Hello and welcome to HD Movie Talk. I am one of your hosts, Deans Beans, and as always, I'm joined by my good friend and my co-host, Fluff. Hello, Fluff.
Okay. So my name is Harlan. It's not
Hello,
Fluff.
Harlan.
My username is Fluffy Duffy. So Dean was wrong on two fronts.
Do you have an issue do you want me to stop calling you Fluff? Because I will.
I don't care.
Okay, good. Because I won't stop.
It gives me more interactions in my comment section.
That's exactly why I
mind.
thought you wouldn't care. Me, on the other hand, I don't think like that. I'm just like, people comment Dean Gang, and I'm just like, I'm going to break your nose. I don't think that. Anyway, this is episode 11 of The Silver Lining, where we take an arguably bad movie, sometimes more arguably than others, and we talk about the good elements, we talk about the bad elements, and then we make a better movie. We like get a budget in, a couple $1 million and hire the crew, bring back the old cast and make the movie. We're still yet to do the second part, but maybe this week we'll see how it goes if we have time at the end.
Maybe anything's possible.
Okay. Anyway, as I'm sure you guys have all known because you clicked on the episode, we're talking about The New Mutants, which is the last movie to ever exist in the X-Men universe.
And I would say, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna say this. It's the worst X-Men movie.
I think X-Men Origins is the worst.
Well, here's the difference between X-Men Origins and this movie. Yeah, X-Men Origins might be bad.
Sorry.
But at least it was fun. Like it was.
Yeah.
This was not any type of fun.
It's true.
Like,
okay, so this is the third X-Men movie we've done now. If you want to go and enjoy our back catalogue, because 3 weeks ago we did Dark Phoenix, and then like 2 months ago we did X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Mm-hmm.
So we've still got X-Men Apocalypse and X-Men The Last Stand to get through.
Well, Apocalypse, I feel like Apocalypse kind of falls into the land of mediocrity.
Yeah, but we can still talk about it here. I want to. Not anytime soon. I'm done with X-Men movies for now. But
yeah, me too, man.
One time soon. Anyway, this is what I forgot to say right at the start. Speaking of what bad movies you want us to talk about, in the down below, there's a link to a Google form where you can just give us tips and suggestions and questions for the podcast, which would be very nice if you did that. Harlan's in a very bad mood, and it would cheer him up.
I am in a very bad mood. Walmart duped me.
He got duped by Walmart.
I got duped by Walmart.
But this Google form will remedy all of those things. And I'm in a pretty good mood, and it would put me in probably the same mood, but it would last for a little longer.
You're gonna be... Okay.
Should we just jump into the plot summary of The New Mutants?
Oh, yeah. Loaded on me.
I've got that here. Okay, so 5 young people who demonstrate special powers are brought to a secret institution. I don't know why I'm putting on these weird emphasis on words. To undergo treatments they are told will cure them of the dangers of their powers. Okay, let's run through these 5 troubled youths. Number 1, Danielle Moonstar, aka in the comics she's called Mirage. I don't think they ever mentioned that here. She creates illusions from other people's fears and maybe her own. Ooh, no idea how to say Maisie Williams' character's name. Ran Sinclair, who basically.
Oh, it's Rain. It's Rain.
Rain, nice. It's spelt weirdly.
It is.
Who transforms into the werewolf Wolfsbane. Sam Guthrie, who's Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things. Is Cannonball, who can fly at jet speeds, protected by a force field. Roberto DaCosta, Sunspot, who absorbs and channels solar power. and Ilyana. Yelena.
Ileana,
Ilyana, that's probably right. Rasputin. I know how to say that.
good job, Dean.
AKA Magic, who's Anya Taylor-Joy, the younger sister of Colossus, which I don't think is mentioned in the movie.
No, they don't say that once.
But it's, yeah, here it says this younger sister of Colossus, also known as Magic, who becomes encased in armor, not true, at will, and wields a sword that amplifies her multiple superhuman and psychic abilities. Okay. So they're invited here by Dr. Cecilia Reyes, and they're asked to share stories about how they got their powers and all that. And the 5 patients come to understand that they're mutants, and basically, if they do well, they get to go and join the X-Men. Like if they do well in this place, they get to go and join the X-Men, or so they think. As they relive their origin stories, their memories seem to turn into terrifying realities thanks to Moonstar's abilities, and the group must come together as a team and defeat their worst nightmares while discovering the dark truth of the facility they're being kept in. Basically, the facility is run by the Essex Corporation, which is trying to turn them into killers. And while trying to escape and kill Dr. Reyes, Moonstar accidentally releases a giant bear, and they must fight this bear. That's it. That's the movie. They fight the bear.
They do fight the bear.
Do you know the meme where it's inside you there are 2 bears? One bear is gay, and the other bear is gay. You are gay.
No, I don't know that meme.
That's what this movie made me think of. Anyway.
Do you want to know some fun facts about this?
Oh, good luck getting some fun out of this movie, pal.
All right. Do you want to know what would make this movie more fun?
What? 2 bears.
If it was a trilogy.
Whoa.
Because that's what they were planning on doing. With the second film to be like an alien invasion movie.
That would actually be pretty cool.
And then a third and final installment to be a supernatural apocalyptic horror movie based on the X-Men comic event Inferno, where demons invade the Earth and magic plays a major role.
That'd be pretty fun.
Magic as in Anya Taylor-Joy's character, not like the element of magic. Magic
with a K.
Josh Boone admitted that, who is the director, that he found the shooting of the film to be stressful as he felt a bit neutered because he had to tone down the film and his original full horror ideas.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you remember, but come the first trailer for New Mutants, this was definitely supposed to be a horror movie.
Yeah. I kind of get that vibe that it's neutered. Okay, what else have you got for me?
Last Marvel film ever to be released with Stan Lee as an executive producer.
Oh, Stan, seriously, mate?
Oh, and the vision Danny sees of mutant children contains some reused footage from Logan.
I thought that.
Which is what I thought too.
Because I'm like, that doesn't look like this movie. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, I don't know if this is true or not, but I want to see something.
Go on, go.
Essex.
I can pad for time if you want. Basically, for those of you who don't know, the X-Men are a team of superheroes, and they're all mutants, and they're usually marginalized. There's not much of that here because none of this movie really takes place outside like the one place. And I don't. Whoa.
Transigen, which is the company in Logan,
yes,
is an offshoot of the Essex Corporation. So, like the company, the corporation we see in Logan is also Essex, which I didn't know.
Oh.
So, there you go. That's really all. Oh, and this movie had 5 release dates.
5. Not as many as Morbius. Okay, can we... This is off topic. If we both watch Morbius and we're both like, this movie is bad, can we just do a silver lining on it straight away?
Sure.
I just want to get...
But if it's good,
we will end the podcast. Look, that's the last episode that the podcast will ever do is on Morbius.
Dude, I really hope the movie's good. Oh my God, could you imagine if it's like amazing.
See, I usually say, "Oh, I want every movie to be good," because I do, but then sometimes I don't. You know
Because if it's good, you know what that means, right?
what?
We get more Jared Leto.
I feel like I'd have to quit TikTok if this movie's bad because in the past couple of weeks I've really doubled down on this Jared Leto stuff. I don't know if you've seen.
Dude, what would happen if you got invited to the movie premiere
I
for
would
Morbius?
I would honestly. That's the movie premiere I want to go to. I think most. I don't know why. I just think it'd be funny. I just think that'd be such a great one to go to.
Dude, and you should like get like insider details to see what Jared Leto is wearing and wear the exact same
Yeah,
thing.
no, I was gonna say I need to dress up as something. Maybe I dress up as him. I wear one of his suits from House of Gucci.
You you wear like that purple alligator coat that he wore in Suicide Squad, and you dye your hair green.
Yeah, yeah. I think I put on a fat suit and dress up as him from House of Gucci, and then just walk around going, Mamma Mia, and then getting kicked out and not getting to watch the movie. That's the plan.
Yeah,
Anyway, back to New Mutants. Do we talk about the good first, or do we talk about the bad first?
talk about the good first.
I ask that every week, and I
You
should
do.
know. Do you think the listeners? No, they don't know what goes on. Okay, let's see if you can guess this. I wrote down something on the good list before I even started watching the movie.
What I don't. I have very little on my good
Do you?
list.
That's
Very little.
I wrote down 90 minutes.
Oh, yes. It's not even anime. It's like 84s, 86 or something.
It's around the 90-minute mark.
Yeah.
And
It's a very short
as I
movie.
think I've said many times in regards to Venom, Let There Be Carnage, if a movie is a tight 90, I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of this. Like, imagine how much worse this movie would have been if there was another half an hour on the side, you know?
I can't even imagine what it must have been like. You know what? Okay, so I'm like scrambling trying to think of things that are on my good list.
Yeah.
The I like Anya Taylor-Joy's arm.
Yeah. I'd want to see the full armor thing, you know, but the arm's cool.
Yeah, it never explains why it's just her arm.
I've put down the magic action, like her character. There's one specific when she first like actually properly uses her powers, which I think is pretty cool. When it's the big no face people.
Or she's like teleporting around in
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing. That was pretty cool.
I like that action scene.
A lot of it. Well, that's bad. That's bad. Okay. Come on, Harlan.
Okay.
Can't talk about the bad.
I've got down the pool horror scene.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
I liked that, the visuals there. I mean, some of the dialogue was, "Oh, you're going to have to catch me." Swims on. It's a bit weird, but like that itself, I quite like that. So there were a few horror bits which I'm like, oh yeah. I think like when the guy from Stranger Things goes down and there's a coal mine.
Yeah, I like that sequence. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
And like the laundry machine starts shaking.
Yeah. I quite like the idea of the relationship between Moonstar and Wolfsbane.
And I quite liked Rain. I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah. I've one complaint about her later. And I did like Moonstar as well.
You did?
That not my I just found it interesting. She was like the one character I couldn't picture in my head before watching this movie, because Harlan and I, neither of us had ever seen this before.
Mm-mm.
And she's the main character, and that took me by surprise.
Yeah. I was more expecting this to be more of like an ensemble piece.
Yeah. But I did like... Well, yeah, because what can you name about... No, okay, we'll get into that. I'm going to add that to my bad list now. But like, I like their relationship, and I like, you know, it's just good representation, and that they don't make a point of it. It just happens, you know, like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm surprised there wasn't more press regarding that.
Exactly. I mean, no one watched this movie, to be fair.
That's true.
But Fox,
nobody even like knew it
Fox
came out.
has been better at that as a general rule, because there's the
Deadpool,
Megasonic Teenage Warhead.
Yeah.
in Deadpool. So, good on them. MCU, come on. X-Men's outdone you in a movie this crap.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. Do I have any more good things? I think I like the cast. I just don't think they're used very well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Anya
Dr. Reyes.
Taylor-Joy, Maisie Williams, and Charlie Heaton. I'm like, they're really good actors. Like, that's a good cast for this movie.
Yeah, and the actress of Dr. Reyes, she was in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah,
she wasn't.
If you just said to me, if you were like Charlie Heaton, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Maisie Williams are kind of in like an ensemble coming of age movie, I'd be like, I'd watch that movie.
Me too.
And
they told me it's an X-Men movie, I'd be like, no way. And then it's like, but it's bad.
Because this is such a. I really think this is. Because okay, are we just transitioning into the bad now with
Let's do it. I'm all wrung out for good ideas.
So this movie is kind of can't settle between like a coming of age movie and a horror movie, and like you probably could do both, but like it just switches between the two quite a lot.
Quite a lot.
And the idea of a horror movie set in the X-Men world, I love, and the idea of a coming of age story with just a group of teens in the X-Men world, I also love.
Yes.
But especially the horror one, because there is no comic book movie that is like this. Really. That I've seen.
Well, yeah, there's not been an attempt besides like maybe Blade to make a horror
maybe like
movie.
One of the Hellboys. I haven't seen the originals.
Me either. Have you seen the one with David Harbour?
Yeah, it's so crap.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
We can talk about that one week.
Oh,
it's so bad. That'd be a good movie to talk about. Yeah, and it just doesn't do either of them.
It doesn't do either of them well.
Yeah.
And I was like, when New Mutants, the trailer came out, I remember watching it, and my content that I watched, like the content creators that I watched were very excited for it because they're like, this is something that would be cool, a horror Marvel movie with like these kids getting their new powers. That could be sick. But it isn't.
Oh, it's sick, just in a different way. I've got here like this is the most 2013 movie I've ever seen, and somehow it was released in 2020.
See, I don't know. I don't know if I even get 2013 vibes from this. I just think
it's just kind of the teen drama elements and the dialogue. I'm like, this is so not any good. This is like Disney Channel, but with scary bits.
Well, like when it came to those like teen moments, it just felt forced.
Yeah, I get that.
And one big complaint I had, like one thing when I was watching this, I'm like, that is extremely stupid. Was they had the lie detector scene.
Yeah.
They snuck out while they thought Dr. Reyes was asleep.
They thought the doctor wasn't watching. I expect, because I don't think a lot of people have seen this movie.
Right.
The group of five sneak out and go up into a secret room while they don't think the doctor is watching them. And they hook themselves up to a lie detector just for a fun party game. And they ask each other questions about how they got their powers and about sex.
Oh, yeah. But it turns out Dr. Reyes is watching them, but that's not important to my point.
And it's not important to the movie either, to be fair, because it's never brought up again.
No. Then literally 2 minutes later, they do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Where they get the doctor asleep, and then they mess around again.
But I kind of feel that is because this is supposed to be a longer movie and there are a lot of bits of jumping about like that. So I feel like there was supposed to be quite a bit that happened in because there's stuff like there's a bit like where the doctor is telling off magic in one room, Anya Taylor-Joy, not the concept of magic. And then she's like, oh, I'm not going into solitary. And then the movie cuts to her being physically thrown into solitary by just the doctor and no one else is there. And she's like, I'm not staying in here. And the door closes and I'm like, how'd you get her in there? What's going on?
And then they could have like shown like a force field around her as she was like pushing her.
Yeah, and it's just the doctor there, so it didn't like. There's just bits like that where it just cuts to something, and you're like, "What just happened? Where are we now? How did this happen?"
Right. And I'm sure like, but just looking at it, like if you were to look at what was happened, they knock the doctor out. They think the doctor's not watching. They go hang out, and then they have a meeting, and then they knock the doctor out, and then they go do it again without thinking that they're watching. It's just so like they could have done it in a way more creative way, I feel.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that just one thing really bugged me. But now I'm getting out my notes.
Speaking of magic, there's just some casual racism at the start, which is never really addressed again. Where I don't know if you picked up on this, where she's talking to Moonstar, who is a Native American girl, I think.
Magic is?
No, Moonstar is Nate. Oh, Magic is talking, yeah, to Moonstar.
Yeah.
And then Magic goes, "Do you know how to grow weed?" And then Moonstar goes, "No." And then Magic goes, "What kind of Indian are you?"
Yeah, that's not subtle racism. That is
And I feel
just
like, obviously the movie isn't portraying that in like a good light, and it's not going, "Oh, that's funny," but it's just never brought up again, and it's just not. I feel like she says something else at some point as well, but that was the bit I was like, "What is?" I like backwards winded it, and I was like, "What is the point in that? What, like, why?"
that brings up a huge point where I kind of get a little frustrated. This movie is I don't think they know did it. I don't think they knew what to do with the character of Magic
Yeah.
because it feels like throughout the film she constantly changes.
Yeah, but I would argue that there's one bit where she really changes, and then it's just the same from then onwards. So basically, at the start of the movie, Moonstar is the new girl in the facility, and for whatever reason, Magic really can't stand her, and is just constantly like insulting her. One point, like nearly killing her. Like I'm not 100% sure what her plan was, but she full on swings a sword at her head, and then a force field stops it.
Yeah.
And like they're really unhappy. And then there's a bit where she is sneaking off with the two guys to go do the lie detector bit. And then that she goes, "Oh, where are you going?" And then she goes, "We're not going to tell you." And then the guys tell her. And then suddenly, from that point on, for the rest of the movie, she doesn't seem to have a massive problem with her until until stuff happens that kind of makes her have a problem with her. But just from that point on, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm cool with you now, whatever."
Yeah.
And it's just because her friend said, "Oh, we're going to do this." That was it.
I don't know. And then like at the end she's a hero.
Yeah. She's the cool one.
Right. And I don't know. It just I was not sold on it at all. Oh, okay. I don't want to upset you because I know you loved Charlie Heaton.
Okay. Oh, I
But
think I might agree with you with what you're about to say.
but his accent is god awful.
I have a note here, is just accents, because I think there are too many accents going on in this movie.
But like his was like I was laughing.
Yeah, there are bits where you don't notice it some of the time, but I feel like there's one or two scenes where you're like, "Oh, what's he doing?"
Well, I think it's also potentially possible that I just have maybe a little bit more experience with that
That's
type of
probably
accent than
true
you
as well.
do,
Yeah.
which is like kind of similar to like the Cockney accent of Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins.
I was gonna go with Bully Butcher from The Boys, but I like that one. I just can't help myself. Oh, okay, he's English. I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just thought I'd check, see if he knew what he was doing. See, the thing is, but he's good. Like you didn't know that, and you've watched Stranger Things, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it is not because like at some points I'm so glad I had the captions on because there was no way I'd be able to decipher what he was saying.
No, there's just some words where he really goes for it. I think like there's just be a word every sentence where he really leans into it, because I did notice it as well.
It had me laughing.
Um, yeah. Do you think that was a choice? I want to know if that was a choice he made or something he was told to do. Do you think he read the script and he's like, "Oh, American coal miner. I know what I need to do. But there you go.
He could have been a coal miner and couldn't have the most thick Southern accent of all time. Like, that's possible.
Yeah. Okay. What else do I have?
I have a lot more.
Okay, one I want to talk about is just Sunspot is just a bad character.
Which one's Sunspot?
The guy who killed his girlfriend.
Oh, right.
Okay, number one, this I'm not sure like how to word my thoughts on this, but I just think it's a weird choice that the thing he's so sad and grumpy about all the time is that he just can't have sex.
And then he killed his girlfriend.
Yeah, I know, but that isn't what it's presented as. It's more presented as, oh, I can't, because his girlfriend's mentioned once.
It's presented as like, it's leading up to like, he did this unspeakable thing. Yeah, the rest of these kids like killed a bunch of people, but what he did,
Magic killed
like
20 people, and Charlie Heaton killed his dad,
and like a group of coal miners.
Yeah, and Moonstar killed an entire like village seemingly.
But Mr. What's his name?
Charlie Heaton, who is Cannonball.
No. The guy that killed his girlfriend.
Oh, sorry. I just honestly forgot which character we were talking about because he's Sunspot. Because he's such a boring character. There's nothing to him.
But Sunspot, he killed his girlfriend.
That might be the best Human Torch effect in a.
Well, are you serious? I thought the effects were terrible.
I mean, I was watching on quite a small screen, so maybe
I was watching it on my TV, what you're on right now.
Well, I'm on your team. Hello. I knew that. I don't know why I'm about to say something.
And I was looking at it, I'm like, wow, this must have been like some last minute special effects.
Okay, what do you think of the look of the bear? I don't know why. Just the idea of the bear makes me laugh.
Well, I knew the bear was coming.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew the bear was coming. I thought there were two bears for some reason.
And I think I kind of they set it up so that it wasn't completely out of left field.
Yeah. I don't know how I would have felt about the bear. If there was should we explain the bear?
Sure.
Basically, at the start of the movie, there's an old Native American proverb which says, inside every person there are two bears, forever locked in combat for your soul. One bear is all things good, compassion. Oh no, a pop-up came up. Compassion, love, trust. The other is all things evil, fear, shame, and self-destruction. And basically, Danny, who's this character, Moonstar, who creates other people's nightmares, she gets a bit freaked out. And because she's forever scared of this whole bear thing, she creates the bad bear and then has to become the good bear.
So stupid.
What I like, here's something I like. There's something I have talked about just to do with comic book movies in the start. It's like, I'd want a comic book movie where there isn't like a big villain. And this movie is that. And I kind of appreciate that about it.
Well,
I do appreciate at the end they're not fighting just some supervillain who's like, haha, and I've brought you all here to turn you into killers. I think what they've done here is still more interesting than that.
However, one big issue I have with this movie.
With the bear?
No, was with who I would argue to be the main antagonist of the story. And that's Dr. Reyes.
Yeah.
Because she starts out as a caring person. And she is a caring person all throughout the movie, right up until after she accepts that she's going to kill Danny. Yeah. And at that point, she turns into an all-out supervillain.
I think it makes sense at the point where she was mauled by a werewolf. That kind of makes sense, but...
What do you mean?
Like when at the very end and all the kids are there and she's there all beaten up and everything. And like nearly dead. And then she's like, and I'm gonna kill you. I think that works for me because she's a lot more unhinged there because she was just attacked by a werewolf.
I know, but like when I think... So they could have done a lot of interesting things because she's a mutant, right?
Yeah.
We can assume she's a mutant. They could have made it like and she's working for this evil corporation, and like maybe like they installed this psychologic thing in her where she hates mutants because that's what she is, and then she feels ashamed. They could have done so much interesting things with this character that I think we should incorporate into the rewrite.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't, and then literally you can see like how she doesn't want to kill this girl, but then after she accepts that she's going to kill Danny, it's like she gives her a literal death speech as she's about to put her. Like, who does that?
Especially to the girl with superpowers like that.
When she's doing that, she's like, she looks like she doesn't care for Danny anymore. It's like she's turned on an all supervillain, is giving a supervillain speech, and after she's mauled by the werewolf or whatever, still like her. I understand what you're saying. She's upset, but like her motivations are changed. Like everything about the character is different from what it was.
I quite like her death, though. I think
by the bear.
I just think, oh, it's good because it's sudden. You're like, oh, like it's a good way to introduce that threat of the bear. Just to be like, oh,
yeah, okay, I'll give you that one.
And like I think the bear is still a more interesting thing than if she was the big one they had to fight at the end. I think the concept of the bear is better. Okay, but I did write down a line of hers which I thought was bad because I found it very funny, where she has Danny strapped to a table and is doing like tests on her or something in like a lab coat, and she looks down and Danny looks a little bit worried, and then she says, "It's okay, I'm a doctor." I don't know why, it just made me laugh.
One line that made me laugh, she said, is in the very beginning when Danny gets to the hospital, she's like, "You're completely safe in here." Like, that is the worst foreshadowing I have ever heard. And okay, I have one more bad thing.
Okay, go on.
The smiling men.
Okay, what? Just because that? Yeah, I get what you mean.
They're one note. I dislike the character design because it just looks like Slender Man or like the thing from what's it named? Is it from The Conjuring?
Yeah, I think so.
Like this Conjuring.
Us to a clear horror movie pros.
Conjuring Smiling Man. The Crooked Man. That's his name. The Crooked Man.
Yes.
Let me try to find a picture.
What annoys me about the weird smiling man, basically, the smiling man is like magic's worst fear. And that's why they appeared there, because her worst fears become reality. I just would like, were they real? Were they something that actually existed? And if they actually existed, what are they?
Are they men that just like through her like faulty memory, she just conjured up like that they look like these
like
monstrous
if they explained it, I think that would have been better.
Are they from her purgatory world? Is that why they look like that? Like,
yeah, that's the thing. I also think this does a lot in the X-Men. We kind of talked about this when we talked about Dark Phoenix with them. Oh, they just kind of very casually introduced aliens. I think both Magic and Mirage are like two of the most powerful mutants ever. And they just never really go into that. They never really go, oh, Magic opens portals and has a sword and has a suit of armor. Like, Magic could kill Wolverine or Magneto or Apocalypse, I think, with not massive amount of difficulty, just because she seems to be able to do whatever she wants.
Right, she can literally teleport to a different world where nobody can access.
Yeah, and then Mirage also does seem somewhat. Mirage does seem like who's Danny. I've called her Danny and Moonstar and Mirage all in this episode, but
all the same person.
Yeah. Danny has the ability to literally just make someone's worst fear just an actual thing. It's not like an illusion. It's not like a mirage, despite what her name implies. It's a real thing. Like if she figured out how to control her powers, then I'd like, what could stop her? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. But I just want to say something real quick.
Go on.
I'm looking at images of the Crooked Man on the internet, and literally there is a thumbnail of a movie for the Crooked Man, and it's one of the smiling men from this movie.
Is that? Let me look. The Crooked.
Just look up the Crooked Man and scroll down on Google a little bit.
Okay, the Crooked Man. Image. Oh yeah, it does look just like. Let me have a look.
It looks like the second row down on the left.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's funny. It's just that. Yeah, it's just the same thing. Nice. What? Okay. Is it time to improve? Do I have anything else?
Why do they have so many fingers?
Well, yeah, like what? I feel like they are supposed to be like an image, like something clearly very traumatic happened to Magic when she was young.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, oh, this is what my mind has created to like cover up what actually happened to me because I was abused or whatever. And I think that is an interesting concept, but it's never actually explicitly said in the movie.
No.
As far as I'm aware, she was kidnapped by a bunch of monsters and kept in a gulag somewhere.
Right.
Because you assume, is that the 35 men she killed or whatever she says? Because there's just a random bit in the movie where she goes, oh yeah, I killed 35 men, and it's just not addressed again. And we're like, oh.
Well, she's actually said 18.
Was it 18?
So got to correct you there. Okay. Is there anything else you are on your negative list?
Just such stereotypical. This was specifically about Sunspot when I wrote this, but archetypes for these characters, you know.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of nuance because I was like, oh, Sunspot's the stud who kind of has a deeper past, and like Charlie Heaton is kind of just playing his character from Stranger Things with superpowers as well.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I've gone through traumatic events with my family and I'm sad all the time and I don't have any friends. And
but he's from the South this time.
Yeah, instead of is Stranger Things in Indiana?
I think so.
I don't know. I just made that up. Are you from Indiana?
No, I'm from Illinois.
Oh, that's why they're similar sounding to me.
Here's how you remember. Illinois is the one with Chicago.
I don't know which one's the one. I know I could have said Chicago. It's Indiana. What did I say?
You said what?
Where did I say it was from?
Indiana.
Oh, I was right. Okay. Wow, look at me go.
Nobody cares about Indiana.
Do they not? Where's Indiana?
Nobody cares about Indiana. Like everybody forgets about Indiana.
Maybe Indiana and Illinois are quite close to each other. Wow.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
Oh, that's cute.
But Illinois is better in like every way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you actually think it's the best state?
No, but it's one of the better ones for sure.
The only states I've been to. This is a tangent. I've been to Florida. Texas briefly. I spent hours in Texas. Virginia.
I've never been to Virginia.
Maryland.
Never been to Maryland.
And I think that might be it. I've also been to the nation's capital. And I think that's
cool.
It. And I've got a plane ticket for, I was going to come visit you, but I accidentally booked my plane ticket for Indiana. So I guess I'm not now. Guess I'll just go on a nice day trip.
Wait, are you coming to the US soon?
No.
Dude, if you ever do, we got to meet up.
Oh, I would. Obviously, that's my number 2 priority, going to the US. Let me just think of a joke for my number 1 priority. Because it's
not like you have family up there or anything.
Yeah, but I've seen them before. I haven't seen you before. Let me think of a joke. I want to go egg Jared Leto's house.
I am comfortable with that taking number 1 priority.
I assume he lives in California somewhere.
Yeah, something like that.
Jared Leto. What a loser.
All right.
Okay, if you had to cast Jared Leto, if you had to replace one of the actors in this movie with Jared Leto, which one would you choose?
Danny.
Would you?
Main character.
I'd love to see him play a Native American
girl.
Do you think he'd do blackface if we asked him?
Oh yes, he would.
I'd like to see him do Cannonball, Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things, have him do the accent and like do it House of Gucci style where he really overcommits.
Like,
oh my god, I'll kill my dad. It was so sad. If I remember, that's going to be a reoccurring section each week. Who would you cast as Jared Leto in this movie? Or who would you cast Jared Leto as? Okay, improving time. What are the main things to fix? Do you want to get rid of the bear? Sorry, just the concept of a big bear at the end of the movie makes me laugh.
I feel like I don't know, because the bear is such like an integral part of the script.
I don't think I have an issue with the bear massively.
Me either. One thing I really want to change is Dr. Reyes.
Yes. Every time you say Dr. Reyes, there's a bit in The Simpsons where there's a musical about the Planet of the Apes called Stop the Planet of the Apes, I Want to Get Off. And there's a character in that called Dr. Zaius. And that's what my brain goes to every time. And there's a song which goes, Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
Okay.
Now I've said that, that's what all our listeners were thinking. So you're welcome for pointing that out.
Yeah, thank you, Dean.
You're welcome, listeners. Continue with what you were saying about Dr. Reyes.
So
the other thing about Dr. Zaius is
Dr. Reyes needs to be a fleshed out character for her to work. She has mutant abilities.
Yes.
I think
go on.
Sorry.
He's thinking, I can see it in his face.
I think to make it work, one part I want to change is when she goes to put Danny down, she straps her in, makes it seem like it's just another one of those tests, and then like starts apologizing because she feels guilty for having to do this, but she thinks it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And then Rain comes down, like she figures it out still. And like when she drops down, Dr. Reyes gets like scared. And then like maybe starts, because I think like, no, how about like Rain like gets one good hit on her, like one good like slash in the face.
Yeah.
And then like she like falls to the ground and starts like crying, and it says like, I didn't want to do it, or like something like that, where like it makes it evident that she was like kind of forced into doing it.
Yeah.
And then does she give like an exposition dump in the third act? Does she explain herself?
I feel like you need to in that point. You could do it in an interesting way if you could do like, Danny looked into her mind and saw the truth. Or something like that.
Or maybe...
Can I just make another complaint about this movie I completely forgot to say earlier on?
What?
You just made me think of. I want to see more of the werewolf.
Me too.
If you have a character that can turn into a werewolf and you're fighting a giant bear, then do it.
Yeah. They didn't do it. It was just her slashing the eyes of the bear.
I want to see her as a giant werewolf.
Oh, okay. Did we ever get confirmed when this story took place?
Don't ask me questions about the X-Men timeline. I'll look into it while you continue pitching your idea about.
So, if it is, like, say it's, I assume it takes place during Logan, like around that time. So if it does, maybe when Dr. Reyes is trying to put Danny down, she gets sight of her head, and then through the door walks the cyborg guy, like the blonde guy from Logan.
Oh yeah.
And then like we get like some dialogue of like, I don't know, him like it's something like that. You know what I mean? I think that
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
a cool cameo that would further the plot a little bit. And maybe he could like talk down to her as a mutant.
Yeah.
And then maybe that's why she's, oh my God, that would totally work. Because that's why she would be such a bad guy at the end. Because she totally was like triggered and pushed over the edge from that.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Are you still trying to figure out when New Mutants takes place?
Yeah, I figured it out.
Okay.
Okay. Here's a quote from Josh Boone. It started being in the original X-Men timeline, ended up completely its own thing, still with connections to X-Men and all that, and obviously in the same universe, but not tethered to the Dark Phoenix universe. So basically, he confirmed that it's not standalone, but it's not directly connected. So he basically just said a whole lot of bullshit. And then people have worked out when this movie is set. So they go, obviously, it takes place before Logan because the X-Men are still a thing. And in Logan, there's the thing about the 2028 Westchester incident where Professor X has his seizure, and that's when the X-Men stop.
They mentioned that?
Yeah, well, I think I don't remember it. This is what it says here, but they talk about Professor X's seizure where like everyone stopped, and that's how the X-Men end, or something like that.
Mm.
And then people have pointed out that because you see clips from Logan, that stuff that because obviously that's all flashbacks in Logan. So
Right.
that stuff must be happening at the same time as this movie. So this movie takes place between 2024 and 2027.
Okay.
So
that works.
Every X-Men movie apart from Logan.
So if that blonde cyborg guy came in, it would.
Yeah, because this is happening while this is happening. X-23 is in a facility somewhere being tested on.
Right.
It's funny how the worst X-Men movie and the best X-Men movie are the two that are most connected.
So we got like kind of the finale. I think we got the finale, at least that one Dr. Reyes bit fixed. Like that works now. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
So now we have the rest of the movie to fix.
Okay, the first and biggest thing to fix, I think, is just the team of five. Do you want to go through them one by one and just heasel them one by one?
Sure, let's use all that then.
Okay, any issues you've got with Danny that you'd want to fix? I don't think I have anything explicit.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with her. She just is a boring protagonist.
I just feel like making the characters around her more interesting will give her more stuff to do.
Yes.
Okay. Wolfsbane, easy.
More
Easy.
wolf.
Werewolf. I really thought it was going to turn into a proper werewolf. Like obviously not as big as the bear, but then like something that could fight the bear for a little bit. That would have been fun to see.
That would have been fun to see, but I don't think they had the budget to do that.
Yeah. Okay, here's something we can fix. When in fight scenes, it's always this is something I only just realized. In all the fight scenes, it's just one of them fighting the thing, getting knocked down, and then another one getting up and fighting the thing, and then getting knocked down, and another one doing it. They don't work as a team at all. They all do it separately.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have them fight together, that would be fun to watch. Imagine Magic putting a werewolf through a portal and then making it appear somewhere else and attacking like that, Doctor Strange style.
Yeah, that would have been sick.
So like have them actually fight together. I feel like just there's so many ways you can make that bear action scene more interesting.
definitely to have like kind of like a team up thing where like Cannonball throws the fire guy and he like
Yeah,
punches him or like something like
exactly.
that.
Because they don't, and Cannonball and Sunspot barely do anything in the last fight.
Yeah. What does Cannonball even do? Just hits him once and then falls down?
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about him next. The easy and obvious solution to that character's problem is no accent.
No accent.
Apart from that, um, he's all right.
I think if they make his powers more clear,
Yeah. Well, yeah. The thing
that
is,
could
in the
help.
thing I found, I based the thing I ripped offline was the thing about all their powers and all their names, where I went through that in the intro. That was something I took off X-Men Wiki, and
Like the
you get so much more information about their powers here because for what it says for Cannonball is can fly at jet speeds protected by a force field. I didn't know that.
never at once explain the
And
force
and
field.
then and then for Sunspot it says absorbs and channels solar power. Didn't know that. And then magic it says becomes encased in armor, which doesn't happen.
Her arm does.
Yeah.
So I think for his character, I think even just one shot following him as he's flying around, like
Yeah,
you can
that's
see his face,
yeah. There's
would
so many ways
instantly
you could do the
explain
action
it.
better here.
But it was just confusing. Like, how is he? I don't know. I
Okay.
think either like dial his powers down or explain it more.
Yeah, and Sunspot, what are we doing with him? I don't. He seems like the most boring one to me, the most forgettable, and I don't know what to do to zhuzh him up.
I think like either he acts up one day and like burns down an entire school,
Yeah,
or like
that's a good idea.
something extremely tragic, or like no, yeah, let's say he kills an entire school.
Yeah,
Like
let's say it. Let's tell everyone that. Hey guys, this guy killed an entire school.
that's traumatic enough.
I mean, I've never went through it myself, so I can't say exactly how traumatic it would be, but
Like,
I'm sure it'd be in the correct region.
could you imagine how bad it would be if like in that pool if he turned around if it wasn't just his girlfriend but if it was
Oh,
like all the children from the school?
yeah.
That would be way more intense.
Okay. Now on to the big one. Magic. I feel like she, as a character, is the one with the most potential here because she's got the best action sequences, and like I kind of like. We haven't even talked about her sock puppet at all, which I kind of like the element that her sock puppet. Why can't I say that? Sock puppet turns out to be a real thing at the end, and it's like a little dragon. I like that.
Me
People
too.
who haven't seen this movie is gonna be so confused. There's a sock puppet that is actually like a tiny dragon. That's it.
Do you think it works? I say we don't get any sense of redemption until the very end. Like, I think it would be cool if she never stood up to the smiling man.
Yeah.
Like, if that just destroyed her.
Yeah.
And like she was like after that she never recovered from the movie until the bear came and she stepped up.
When she saves their lives at some one point.
Yeah.
And then she kind of here's a pitch for you. Smiling men appear. You get some more background into someone says, oh, that must be what her mind has put them as because she was so young when it happened. Because that's what Cannonball sees, because he sees a little Anya Taylor-Joy.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone says that, and you're like, "Oh, okay, literally, that's all you need." And that way, I'm not that fussed about the smile. Maybe like change their design a bit, but apart from that, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
And then, and also, whilst that happening, why don't you just get a bunch of like burn victims fighting as well in other places from like the school.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And then you have both the threat, and so there's a lot going on, and they're all trying to protect themselves. And eventually they stop all that. Then you get to the point, and there's the giant bear, and they're like, "Oh no, we're screwed!" And then Magic steps out of a portal.
Well, you can't figure out the whole Dr. Reyes thing.
Yeah, well, yeah. Whenever the bear appears, and they have to fight the bear, they're about to be killed by the bear. Magic appears, and she's the one that kind of says, "Hey, we've got to work together if we want to get out of here." and then something I want to see from Magic is for her to be fully encased in cool armor.
Well, I think it would be cool if she doesn't say get out of here. Like if she doesn't say like let's all work together, I think it'd be cool if she tells everybody to run.
Yeah.
Like, because it would make more sense for me that she would be willing to self-sacrifice than become a team leader.
And then why don't you give that moment to Sunspot just to give him something to do in this movie? Of him being like, "Oh, I killed all my friends once before. I'm not going to lose you guys as well. We got to fight together."
Yeah.
And then they all turn around, and Magic is in full armor fighting the thing. And then Maisie Williams turns into a werewolf. The other guy starts cannon, and they all fight together.
Yeah.
And okay, here's something we haven't actually mentioned. This movie's got so much going on, but it doesn't at the same time. Danny is in kind of like a vegetative state
at the end.
And she isn't involved in this battle at all, and she's all caught up in her mind.
Right.
There's nothing you can do about that, really, is there?
No.
Yeah, I'm fine with that staying. I feel like that works in a better movie, and I like the element of Maisie Williams talking to her and her hearing that voice.
Yeah.
That works. Yeah, so we can keep that. Okay. Anything, what are we doing about this? I feel like we just need, despite putting 90 minutes my good list, I think you just add another half hour of just team bonding and getting to know characters. Well, it depends
on if these characters, because like the characters don't necessarily work for me as of what the movie is right now.
Exactly. So you need. And the other thing is, in one of the summaries I read, it had made such a point of each character went and lived through what the traumatic event was that made them discover their powers. And I'm like, that doesn't happen in the movie, but that'd be kind of cool to see. So you could explore more. This is what we're talking about. Explore more what was happening with her powers. Because if earlier on you find out Magic's backstory and she was kept in this place and these whatever was happening in this place, and you find that out earlier on in the movie, then when these terrifying men appear, one of the characters can just go, "Oh, this must be what she imagines them as."
Right. Yeah. Something little like that.
Yeah. So I feel like you could get more time finding out about the backstory and like them bonding more, spend more time on the romance.
Okay. So
anything else we're missing?
I don't think so. So the first act more or less stays the same.
Yeah, just more of it. Do you have any issues with the opening? Actually, no, I quite like the opening.
The opening work. I think it falls apart in the latter half. It makes the first half suck.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Here is our revised version of the New Mutants, and I think we did pretty good on this one.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm happy with this. I'd like to see this movie.
Okay. So the first act of this movie more or less stays the same. We get some, foreshadowing into what characters could be and their trauma and their past, but nothing for sure. I don't know. The first act of this movie is fine, except we get rid of Charlie Heaton's accent.
Yeah. For all acts, not just the first one.
And then once the pool scene begins, that's where things kick off. During the pool scene, instead of, what's his name?
Sunspot.
Instead of Sunspot finding his burnt girlfriend, it is slowly revealed to be a bunch of burn victims. At the time, Cannonball and Magic are also running away from the Smiling Men, but Magic doesn't do anything. She just kind of turns into like a vegetable state of emotion.
You can
And
do, yes, teleports away again like she did.
oh yeah, she could teleport away, and Cannonball and Rain team up to like defend themselves. Eventually they run into Sunspot and they run away from the burn victims and the creepy Slenderman guys. And that sequence ends in a similar way to the way it did in the actual movie. Afterwards, Rain and Cannonball talk and explain why the smiling men look like they did, assuming that it's some sort of repressed memory due to it being so traumatic for magic, which is an extremely dark look at it, which is how the movie should be.
Yeah, instead of not mentioning why.
Yeah. And then Sunspot comes in and explained that he kind of accidentally killed an entire school instead of his girlfriend, which is very intense. Then once Dr. Reyes is instructed to kill Danny, she does so reluctantly and is then met by her biggest fear, which is the guy with the metal hand from Logan.
She watched Logan the night before and it really scared her.
Yeah, she did. She had trauma from 20th Century Fox. God damn them. She does so reluctantly, and so this guy kind of talks down to her as a mutant and tells her that she's not good enough, and kind of gives a lot of backstory about what Dr. Reyes had to go through to become, this doctor. And then after that, she kind of turns into an all super villain, triggered by trauma, which I think makes a lot more sense than taking a couple hits to the face by a werewolf. Then the bear kills her, and Magic steps up to the plate after being an emotional wreck. She fights the bear all alone and puts up a good fight, but it's obvious she can't do it alone. Sunspot gets the courage, explaining that he can't lose more friends, and gets the team to help Magic. They fight together. Magic is in full armor and it's badass. She's throwing werewolves through portals. They win. The end.
Yeah, the movie ends the same, just with a much better, like the last battle is just a lot better.
Yeah.
And the one thing we didn't mention is also we probably will have a 2-hour movie because we're at, or 110 minutes because we're adding more bonding time for everyone.
Yes. I think more bonding time of like just talking about trauma.
Yeah. And like romance, because I did like the romance. Okay, what would you rate the original movie out of 10?
4 out of 10.
I was gonna go 4.
Whoa, it's crazy.
What would you rate our new movie out of 10? I'm gonna go 8.
Yeah, I would give it an 8, maybe an 8.5. I think that because we definitely amplified like the horror elements
and the cool elements as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, the question we ask every episode of The Silver Lining is this episode still better than Holmes and Watson?
Is this movie still better than episode 1?
Nice.
Not this episode.
This episode of our podcast, is it better than Holmes and Watson as a movie?
Definitely.
Okay, and is this movie better than Holmes and Watson? I'd say yes. Always actually think about it. Have we actually... Is this going to be the one that changes your mind? Remember the lactation in Holmes and Watson?
Okay, yeah, you're right. This movie's better. Well, see, where I was struggling was like, right now, I'd want to watch Holmes and Watson over the Mutants.
I think I'd agree with you, but that's just because I watched New Mutants a couple of hours ago.
So, yeah, but
you think this is the second worst movie we've talked about then?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd probably go with He's All That.
Oh.
It's the second worst.
I think this is tied for He's All That.
Okay. Fair enough. The best movie we've talked about, The Phantom Menace. Or... Actually, no, we haven't. There's some... Anyway, this isn't important. There are movies here which I'm looking at, and I'd say that. You would say Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, because Spider-Man 3 is better than Amazing Spider-Man 2.
In your dreams. Anyway.
I'm right.
One final thought about New Mutants. If in 10 years, Marvel said, oh, we're doing a Disney Plus series about New Mutants, what would you think?
No.
Would you not want it?
If it's the same cast,
well, no,
I wouldn't have.
It's just the same story, like because the comic's based off.
Oh, if it's the same story, yes, I'd want it.
Because I was watching this and I was like, if this was Marvel Studios, it would make a great Disney Plus show.
Mm-hmm.
Just imagine like every episode they discover more about the facility they're in, and like a monster appears, and like, oh, where are these monsters coming from? I think that would make a really cool show.
Yes, I believe that would also make a
And
really
also
cool show.
you'd get to know the characters way better and everything. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Please go fill out that form. Join us next week where we have a guest on, apparently. News to me.
Oh, guess we need to find one of those. It's been a while.
I'll go, apart from, the past 2 weeks where it's been guest-a-palooza.
Oh, yeah.
So adios, guys. And we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jared Leto.